right. So with this one, I want to say that with the last video that I was referencing with my own experience of life up to and at the point of losing George Floyd, when he was actually a member of my community that I lost. Not that I was part of communities with him. That like all I meant to say is that I'm in the same. I've lived in the same vicinity of where we lost George Floyd, less than 5 miles. And if you understand how statistics work, I had a friend when I was young, and he said, "Man, I don't want to see you become a statistic." I didn't know like how deep that was, but if you actually appreciate life in statistical terms, I haven't studied statistics, but statistics is one of the most sophisticated forms of mathematics. My father actually has a background in statistics, and he's done statistics working around statistics for research on sexually transmitted diseases in Africa. He did that, and anytime you hear the word statistic, usually that's attended by very horrible things. When they're talking about statistics, it's deadly, horrible stuff that human beings should not have to experience. Is usually at play when you talk about when that word a statistic appears a lot of times. But also, consummated living reality is actually attended by a lot of correlations that are not necessarily causation, but they're just simply present with something, and that they're present with something, and that they are somewhat significant as very subtle, fine influences that would just be present with something happen. Yet when something happens here and there, this and that is present or not too far away. You can't say that there's direct causation as we can appreciate as limited human mortal beings, but you can simply appreciate in terms of numbers that there would have to be a significance, whether we realize the connection or not, that these things would attend one another and appear together. So I'm saying my experience, some of my experiences in life, both feeling things deeply, but also worshiping within myself, because I've said in other videos that it's appreciated by some scholars that what's called inner space, the inner dimensions of what we call space, and we experience the sensation of time within that. We experience the sensation, maybe space that is depth, may be a perceptual effect, different, not necessarily the same as what we call reality. What may be more significant is the rate of existing, the rate of coming and going, the pace, the schedule, the cadence, would the wavelength, the valent, like a lot of atoms, they don't just simply go anywhere. They transcend, they shift and transcend. They're here now, existing at this frequency, this rate of activity, this challenge of activity, this demand to continue abiding at this pace, and now they're here. But they didn't actually go here. They became here because they started existing this way. So you're existing this way, and you're existing different. Now you're here. You didn't go from here to there. You just existed differently. Now you're here, or you're perceived as being here. That's deep. That a lot of people don't know about how to go across space, but they would imagine, if you poll the average people, they would imagine that however you would get to the farthest reach of space, it would exist. It would involve teleportation, not transportation. Most people could appreciate that, but even transportation itself might be a form of teleportation if you appreciate it on the atomic level, which is that the way that atoms behave, that is no less than organic substances that are crude oil converted into gasoline, how gasoline is appreciated and manipulated to get the effect of combustion and thereby propulsion and thereby transportation. At the atomic level, it's still teleportation, is how the wavelengths of this atomic and subatomic particles are behaving. Here now, behave differently, more or less effort. Here now, this wavelength. Um, uh, but um, but 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 so things, but a lot of things, they don't necessarily cause one the other in a linear or even cyclical, as we appreciate lines and circles, but they are within cycles, and they are mobile, or at least variable, changing. So one thing can be just attendant of another. So I'm just saying that, and according to him, inner space, going within, is broader than going without. So at the time, at least 4 years was called 4 years leading up to and when George Floyd was saying, I was having regimented practice listening to music that would be like some of your topical music, that would be the trending music of like the new finds or the weekly finds on different platforms. And then I've been a lot of a music head a lot of my life. Where I live at, there's been a lot of music available. There's a place called the Electric Fetus, which is one of the famous record shops in the United States and in the world. When I was in music school, they referenced that as one of the 20 outstanding music stores in the world, Electric Fetus. And I had been a patron and blown many a paycheck there before I ever got along to school. And so I've always listened to a lot of music, but I was listening to music that I was familiar with over a lifetime, but also that was topical for those 4 years, but as a form of worship and going within when I was beset with very dangerous circumstances that would be frightening at day and at night. That type of, and for me that was worship. And I was also doing I was helping people that I love, people in my community and people that I love with my work as like cleaning. And I was helping a lot of people at that time, men, women, and children, um, children, adult, and elderly, disabled. I was helping them and engaging with them and doing stuff like that whole time, and also worshiping at night as my only safe space. The only place that I had in life that was safe and stable was within myself, even as I was hearing crazy sounds in the middle of the night. That not even the middle of the night, the middle of the morning. I would be while that was going on, I was going within is the type of feeling that I was feeling. But then also you have horrible things that would impact what I was feeling as I was feeling that. And then sometimes I would express myself in calling for help because I was yet a civilian and I didn't have recourse and I wanted to just get through that day. So I would defer to help. I asked a scholar, the same scholar that made that reference about inner space as broader than outer space, are there dimensions of what we call radio activity or radio communication that we're not privy to or we're not handed down in popular lexicon of status quo popular regular ho hum education and knowledge? Is that the case? He said, what do you think? Of course. But what he appreciates is that what is known, what has been conceived of radio communication is an extrapolation and a replica of what we actually exist as human beings. We ourselves are actually transpondent receptors and transponders of communication. Such would be our hair. According to that man that I met at a gas station of a nondescript government post of some kind, lightning may be that to a broad, when the earth is having lightning storms like that, that might be a form of communication to broader than what's called this earth. If you sometimes you meet people and you're like, how could there be anything so intelligent as this person I'm meeting? How could there be anything so beautiful as this person I'm meeting? Yet how could there be something as innumerable as this type of person, where as soon as you meet one person as the most beautiful, handsome, strong, intelligent person you had ever met, you met another person completely different yet equal and beyond what you met of that person. And that's the world over. That's how many beautiful people are just upon the earth. How beautiful and profound is not the earth itself or the sun itself that yet supports and is viable, if not the author of these people and also a part of these people? Could such a thing not also express itself? So the sun has as much light, and according to Arthur Avalon, does that which created sight, you can't necessarily say the sun created sight, but the sun facilitates sight. Could something that perceptive not also see? Now, something as the earth that is populated with so many musicians, so many authors, so much digital framework for rapid communication around the world at the speed of light, could such a thing actually communicate itself potentially abroad farther than what we can appreciate as time and space? And then is that not upon lightning, if not different? I think lightning is actually going on constantly. It is going on constantly on the earth, but I think it's actually constantly in our vicinity. And sometimes when people see things, like some people, they'll be like incarcerated or something for a long time. They have nothing on their. They actually forget some of their training about time and space, because without a reference of activity, you lose sense of time and space, and in such you have a different sensation of time without a reference for time. So that could account for why potentially, if you're incarcerated in solitary confinement, what the hell did I just see? Did I just see something there? You may have actually experienced time differently, what's called time differently, and therefore perceived what you wouldn't otherwise perceive, because you're existing at that rate with the lack of a reference. And you might have actually seen the sensation of lightning right there on a very small, minute scale, because usually what's great is also small. As above, so below. You have heat lightning, which is lightning without storms. Could you not have a finer degree of lightning in an actual room or vicinity that someone saw? Someone, what the hell was that? Was that not like mini lightning?